All right, I think we're up. Waiting for people. Yeah, people getting in here. Let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if you can see me, as always. But man, just couldn't wait. This. Uh oh. There we go. We're getting duplicates here. It's going well already. But man, the transfer portal is on fire right now. Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin heating up. KJ Jefferson officially in the transfer portal. I couldn't wait. I couldn't wait to deliver this till Sunday night. There's just too much going on. So let's start. I'm going to run down a lot of these and let me know if I missed any. I probably will miss some because there's so many in the portal right now. But my goodness, KJ to the portal as expected. We all thought this was coming. Well, it's finally here, and I think this is huge. We'll see where he ends up, but I said it on Twitter, getting a ton of blowback. People are off the KJ bandwagon. I'm not. I think if you watched Arkansas this year, they had no offensive line. They had very few weapons that he could utilize. But we'll see what happens with, like T. Will Burner. It's funny. They'll turn on you. T. Will says KJ can't play. They love you, and then you leave. You can't play. You ain't worth a shit. That's what people think, but they're wrong. They would have, done sexual favors for him to return last year. Now he sucks. But I'll tell you where KJ, if he ends up like somewhere like Carson Beck at Georgia, we don't know if he's going to go pro yet or not. But if he does, and I don't think he will, but this has been going on long enough. Something clearly is going off here. I think if Carson Beck goes pro, you pick up that phone. They've already tried to get someone like Malik Murphy there at Texas. KJ would be an instant upgrade over anything they got at Georgia, and they'd be the favorites to win the national championship with KJ Jefferson. So he's got options. Other teams that I threw into the mix, and this is just SEC, obviously, but LSU, Tennessee, A&M, and Auburn. If KJ went to any of those teams, I think they're playoff contenders next season. And I'm already seeing Tennessee. Oh, God, we're all in on Nico. I get it. Paid him a bunch of money and all that, but just look at Sam Pittman and look at Shane Beamer. I think those are the two best examples. Those fan bases, all in on those guys this time last year, right? Now you're seeing it. I think it was universal. Everybody was ready to move on from Sam Pittman. Shane Beamer, I think people are about 50-50. And I'm talking South Carolina fans. I mean, I could be overstating that, but I think a lot of South Carolina fans are wondering, is this even the guy to lead us there? I mean, it'll turn on a damn dime. And that's what the comparison I'm using with Josh Heupel, because you're already starting to see it. They won 11 games 2 years ago. They went down to 8 with their commitment to Joe Milton and everything. And again, it's not all Joe Milton's fault. But the point being, if Nico is not ready, and by ready, I'm saying win 10 games next year in a more difficult SEC. If Tennessee wins 7, 8 games next year, people are going to be wondering if Josh Heupel's the man for the job. These coaches, they can't just sit around and wait 2-3 years anymore. Their ass will get fired. And again, Cousin Shay, we got him in the comments here. Time to burn some damn couches, boys. I'm just telling you. And Auburn is kind of the wild card. We saw not a great team this year, but they had their moments. I really think I'm going to throw up their schedule again here. I think even without KJ right now, Auburn, look at this schedule. I mean, they're going to win the first 4 probably. Arkansas at home is going to be tough. Oklahoma at home is going to be tough. At Georgia, at Mizzou, at Kentucky, all losable. I get it. But then Vandy, ULM, A&M, all at home, and Alabama. I mean, I think Auburn's going 8-4 without KJ. That would be right now my projection, and that could change. But with KJ, I think they're 9-3, 10-2, and I think 9-3 in the SEC is good enough to get you in the playoff. So this is how these coaches have to be looking at it. I don't think you guys are ready for this, but it's going to be, if you don't make the playoff, then you suck, and you're on the hot seat in the SEC at places like Alabama, Georgia, LSU, Tennessee, Auburn. That's how these coaches are going to be judged from here on out. It's not going to be SEC titles. It's not going to be division titles. We're not even going to have divisions. But did you make the playoff? And if you didn't, there's going to be hell to pay. I really do think. We can't be like Billy Napier and Michael Riley and say, well, by year 6, Billy can get us there. No, hell no. That ain't happening anymore. You got 2 years, I think, to show big improvement. And that's what I'm saying. Someone like Hugh Freeze, if they tried out the same damn offense they did last year and win 7 games, he's probably going to be on some kind of hot seat. I really do think that. So it's pretty wild. But KJ, I think that's massive. I'm selling a stock in Arkansas. Unless KJ comes back, maybe he hits the market and there's no money out there for him like he may think there is. But I don't think you enter the portal without having those conversations first. So just something to monitor. I think that's huge, KJ. But it's not all bad because Arkansas did land Danico Slaughter, defensive back from Tennessee. He's a solid player. And they've been adding, I think they added an offensive lineman from San Jose State. I don't know. We'll see about that, how good that guy is. But the real story right now in the transfer portal is Ole Miss. And I've been singing their praises. That's why Shane wants to burn some couches. And that's why I got a little tweet here. I thought this was great. I'm already saying it. I think Ole Miss is going to be a playoff contender. Look what Brandon Zimmerman, if you guys don't follow this guy yet, he's awesome. He works for SEC Network. He says, I have a college football rule. Beware of the not super obvious teams getting too much offseason hype. It's only December, but Ole Miss already has separated itself from the pack in terms of leader for this award in 2024. This season's honor went to LSU. So I reached out to him and said, why are you attacking me like this? Because he's basically talking about me here. But he's a great follow. Give Brandon a follow. And he's right. I hyped up Ole Miss now, and I hope I hyped up LSU too much last offseason. So I'm giving you the kiss of death this offseason, Ole Miss. They landed Florida's edge defender, Princely Mananamila. I don't know how to say his name, but he led Florida in sacks, number 4 in the SEC in quarterback pressures. Then here on Saturday, they turn around and add defensive end Tyler Barron from Tennessee. He's an outstanding player. And safety Tamarian McDonald, who started the last 2 years for Tennessee in the defensive backfield. Ole Miss all in. And I have heard it that they're confident that they're going to get Walter Nolan. Now, I don't know if that's really going to happen, but it's my understanding that they made him an offer that they simply don't think anyone is going to offer him what they did. So if money is the main object for Walter Nolan, and I don't know that it is, but if it is, he's going to be an Ole Miss Rebel too. Imagine if they added him to that defensive front there in Oxford. Still in it for the Juice Wells sweepstakes. I'm trying to think if there's any more that Ole Miss is in on, but I mean, again, we don't, with the offense we got coming back at Ole Miss, we don't need top 5 defense in the country. We need like a top 5 SEC defense, which I think they're inching closer and closer to getting there, to get us to 9-3, to get us to 10-2. Again, look at that Ole Miss schedule. I'll throw it up here. First 4, again, all winnable. Furman at home, MTSU at home, at Wake Forest, Georgia Southern at home, and then we get into the SEC, Kentucky at home, South Carolina on the road. You're going to be favored in both of those. LSU on the road, that's going to be tough as hell. Oklahoma at home, Arkansas on the road, Georgia at home, at Florida. Billy Napier will probably be fired by then, and then Mississippi State at home. That's a 9-3 schedule. 10-2, maybe even 11-1. I think Ole Miss will be red hot. Cousin Shane says, Tiss, he's just making room, baby. which is probably true. They're making room for Shane. You'll like this one. Tennessee has added a tight end from Notre Dame, Holden Stays, I think is how you say his name. He was rated by multiple services as the number 1 tight end in the transfer portal. Picked Tennessee over Georgia and Oklahoma. So he had some big-time offers there out of the portal. Holden Stays to Tennessee. They desperately needed a tight end. They got, by some count, the best tight end in the transfer portal. Cooper Mays is back, starting center. That means Tennessee is going to have 3 of their key starters, both tackles and their center back from last season. And Spraggins, has, to my knowledge, he's not made a decision yet. But if he does, Tennessee is going to have 4 senior starting offensive linemen back next season. Tennessee already had one of the top rushing attacks in the country. To get all those guys back to surround Nico with would be huge. Jalen Wright has declared for the NFL draft. He led the SEC in yards per carry at the running back position, second only to Jaden Daniels. That's still crazy that a quarterback led the SEC. Shane says quality, not quantity, boy. Yes, I appreciate these comments from you, cousin Shane. And how about Georgia, though? Here's another one. You want to talk about the portal going crazy. Making room, I guess. I have heard some of that, but that's how, the media boys down there in Athens, that's how they're going to spin it. It does look like they're going to get Vanderbilt receiver London Humphreys. No surprise. He's the guy that right out the gate against Georgia scored a touchdown. I think that's when Kirby decided he wanted to add him. But Georgia's had 16 guys go into the portal, including many that were regarded as five-star prospects. Brock Vandegrift, of course, to Kentucky. Marvin Jones, edge defender. A.J. Harris and Nyland Green, the corners. Xavier Sori, the linebacker. All those guys, by at least one service, was rated as a five-star recruit. Jamon Dumas-Johnson, we haven't gone live since he went into the portal, starting linebacker, All-American. They're getting hit hard. One of their offensive linemen went to North Carolina. Mekhi Muse was an interesting one to me. I know he's a walk-on, but he was a big-time kick returner for Georgia. So, interesting that Georgia's getting hit. Did I have the wrong decaying dynasty, perhaps? I think I'm just going to make fun of Georgia this offseason. That'll fuel them back to getting back to the national championship. But I'd be a little concerned if I'm Kirby and company with all this talent. They're not shy on talent. They still got a top 2 roster probably in the country, but you don't want to be losing all this experience, I wouldn't think. You don't rely heavily on freshmen and sophomores if this continues. LSU, how about LSU got a big pickup here that kind of flew under the radar. Mississippi State receiver Xavier Thomas, who didn't get a ton of production at Mississippi State. They didn't know how in the hell to use him the last 2 seasons. Outstanding kick returner. LSU, they need to add more weapons with several of their receivers likely to go to the NFL. I think Xavier Thomas is going to make some noise. And then this I thought was fascinating, and maybe they'll get back into the KJ Jefferson sweepstakes, but South Carolina hosting Texas quarterback Malik Murphy. Again, how all in are they on Lenoris Sellers? The fans think he's the next best quarterback in the SEC. He may be. But this is what I was saying. Same damn thing I said about Heupel. I'll say it about Beamer. If Sellers is not ready to lead South Carolina to like an 8-9 win season, Beamer may be out of a job. I mean, these coaches can't plan for 2025. They gotta win in 2024. So I like the fact that South Carolina is bringing in quarterbacks, but that does kind of suggest maybe Sellers is not ready. I don't know. I don't know what you guys think about that, but man, the portal's crazy. I probably missed some just while we were going live here, but commitments are happening left and right. I get fired up. I'm getting thinking that Ole Miss going to win the national championship. Not really, but I think they will make the playoff with all these guys they're adding. Cannot wait to see what happens with KJ Jefferson. I think there's going to be big dominoes here. I'm going to look at your comments here. Anyone, I don't know. I may have missed any here. Still waiting for that Oklahoma lineman Green to make a decision. I think he's headed to Mizzou, which would be a massive pickup for the Tigers. One of their backup quarterbacks, former 4-star, did jump in the portal there for Mizzou, but I think they're fine because they've got, obviously, Brady Cook, and they actually have him for multiple seasons, if I understand it right. And, of course, they still got Sam Horn. So, got Jalen Catalon from Arkansas last year. Arkansas can have him back. I love Catalon. Malik going to South Carolina, says Cousin Shane. He could. I think he's visiting South Carolina and Duke this weekend. So, I don't know if he wants to play in a real conference. He'll go to South Carolina. I know Georgia was somewhat interested as well. Yeah, Free Durden says Trevor Etienne coming to Florida would make Florida sick, but okay for Georgia. Yeah, I think Georgia's getting Etienne, that'll change the narrative on this portal stuff real quick. I mean, getting some big time playmakers in there, but that's going to be fascinating. Yep. Florida fans are going to hate it. I think Florida fans just hate a lot of things right now, including a lot of them their head coach. Anything else? I missed this one too. Eugene Asante for Auburn is coming back. That's a huge pickup. He was one of the most underrated defenders in the SEC. I mean, this news is just flying in at all times at this point. I mean, it's bowl season, it's portal season. We got recruiting. It's the early signing period is on Wednesday, so there's just so much going on right now. It's wild. I didn't want to go a couple of days without giving you guys some content here to digest on a Saturday, but I don't think we have any bowl games that are that meaningful today. But it's football, so we'll enjoy it. Next, two Wednesdays away, December 27th, we finally got an SEC bowl game in the Texas Bowl, Texas A&M versus Oklahoma State. Some drama I've been hearing with Texas A&M though, with the interim, Eugene Robinson, I think is his name. So he's sticking it out. He got hired at Syracuse to be the defensive coordinator, but he is staying because he's the interim coach for A&M for the bowl game. But he is actively, apparently, this is what I've heard, he is recruiting A&M guys, recruits, to Syracuse, and then any player from A&M that jumps in the portal, he's recruiting them to Syracuse. And he's going out on the road and recruiting for Syracuse while he's Texas A&M interim coach. Maybe that's fair game. I don't know. At least he's sticking it out. But the fact that any Aggie that immediately jumps in the portal gets a Syracuse offer is kind of interesting. But so we'll see. We'll see if he even makes it to the Texas Bowl if he's the head coach. I think he will be. But just a little drama down there in College Station that I caught wind of I thought was pretty unique. But that's also in large part to all this coaching carousel, recruiting calendar, transfer portal, coaches taking other jobs. I mean, it's wild. And this type of stuff is going to happen until they fix this calendar. And they probably won't fix it because I don't think anyone's in charge of college football. We're all just, it's like a renegade. It's like me thrown up here on YouTube. No one's telling me what I can and can't say. And some people hate it. Some people love it. It is what it is. You know what? But I think that's all I got right now. I'm just so excited with all this stuff going on here. Tyler Baird to Ole Miss. Lane Kiffin tweeting about it. I don't mind him going to Ole Miss, but I'm just looking at him in the uniform. It doesn't look right. I mean, I'm used to him. He's from Knoxville, wearing that orange. He looks awful. He was the one, I believe, even against Ole Miss, that forced the fumble, or at least returned it for a touchdown. Matt Corral, that was for some reason called back. Now I wonder if Tyler Barron has changed his opinion on whether that was a fumble or not. He almost has to, right? Because he plays for Ole Miss. I mean, this is wild times we're living in. But hey, good for Ole Miss. Sucks for Tennessee. Just making room, as Cousin Shane would say. NCAA has lost all credibility and power. Yeah, welcome to 10 years ago. I mean, they haven't had either one in a long time. They do nothing. NCAA is worthless. SEC should have broke off from the NCAA a long time ago, and it's happening. I don't know. They're just doing it slowly for some damn reason. I would have done it immediately. But I think that's all I got. I just wanted a quick update here. Again, Ole Miss, you're winning the national championship next year. You heard it here first. Auburn, knocking on the door of the playoff. Cousin Shane says, just when I was buying into Ole Miss, I was reminded it was ran by Benedict Arnold. Yeah. Lane Whiffen Kiffin, he may have to win a football game of significance for Ole Miss to do any of the things I'm saying, and I don't have much confidence at all in the head coach. But I do think year two, Pete Golding's system, I think the defense will be better. They're getting all these additions via the transfer portal that I really like, and so many players back on offense for another run. They are investing heavily in the upcoming season. And this, again, people, you hear Kirby and Nick Saban, and I know for a fact, Nick Saban hates portal NIL. He wants people like Paul Feinbaum to trash it and say they need to do away with it. And it's because they're scared to death. They're scared to death to see what Lane Kiffin, someone like that, and Mizzou, what they can do, Tennessee, A&M, Texas, all these teams that can kind of, you can't buy your way to the top. It has been tried, but you can certainly get there quicker. You can certainly supplant your roster in an off season. We're seeing it every year now at Ole Miss. And Ole Miss won 10 games 2 of the last 3 years. They're one of the winningest teams in the SEC since Lane Kiffin got there. So it is working. It's a different way. And there's no method to it necessarily because it's just never been done before. I've heard, you just can't, it's not sustainable to build a roster this way. Well, there's no proof that you can't because this is all new. So you can build it up like Billy Napier just through recruiting, and you can have the fans calling for your job after 2 years, or you can go portal heavy and get to the mountaintop a lot quicker. So, hey, it's working for Mizzou. It's working for Ole Miss. It's working for a lot of these teams. Tennessee and LSU, certainly too, under their new coaches, made relevant much, much quicker than they could have how college football was 5-10 years ago. So I think it's a good thing. And with the playoff expanding, with the SEC expanding, oh, man, this is going to be great. But real quick, Rich says, is there pods next year? No, the SEC is not doing pods. I don't think there will ever be any kind of pod system. It's just, you get the 8 you play. And the format of how they're doing it has not been finalized. They're still kind of bitching and moaning about all that. But no pods, no divisions, just the whole conference. Top 2 teams, number 1, number 2, by SEC standings will go to Atlanta for the SEC championship. Cousin Shay says, it's the worst Christmas ever. You got the number 1 tight end, Cousin Shane. You can't be too down. And Tennessee will get some more. They're hosting some elite G5 transfers, I'm sure, this weekend. But, hey, I think that's going to do it. Just wanted a quick little recap. Things are going crazy. I'd like to enjoy the rest of my Saturday here, scrolling on the Twitters here and just seeing what kind of crazy news. And who knows, if maybe KJ makes a decision or something crazy like that, I'll hop back on here. But just wanted to give you guys something because this is wild. This is wild. Portal madness going out of control. KJ in the portal. Appreciate each and every one of you for hanging out. Don't forget, Sunday, we'll be back with Cousin Shane, 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 Central, live on all these platforms. We figured out how to do Instagram now, too. So we're even live on the Instagram, Twitters, YouTube, obviously, all that. So appreciate you, and we will